There was a very grand and luxurious palace. Princess Sparkle lived there. Sparkle was always cheerful and so innocent that everyone in the palace loved her more than their own life. Her mother, Queen Begum, could do anything for her daughter's happiness. One day, Queen Begum gave Sparkle a very special gift, a small white dove. Sparkle loved her dove very much and named it Barfi. She spent the whole day playing with Barfi and shared all her secrets with him. One evening, the weather suddenly turned terrible. A fierce storm began, and the frightened white dove flew out of the window. Strong winds carried Barfi far away from the palace into a dense and scary forest. Alone and terrified, Barfi sat on a tree branch and cried. In that forest lived a fairy named Junina. She was very beautiful and innocent. When she saw the helpless white dove crying, she used her magical powers and realized that the dove belonged to a princess who was very sad. Junina took the dove and reached the palace balcony, where Sparkle was crying. The moment Sparkle saw Barfi in Junina's hands, she became extremely happy. From that night onward, a deep friendship formed between Sparkle and Junina. It was late, so Sparkle took Junina to her room. She placed Barfi on the table, and both of them slept peacefully. By morning, Sparkle and Junina woke up. Sparkle took Junina to Queen Begum's room and told her everything. Queen Begum was delighted to meet Fairy Junina. Everything was going well, until suddenly, Queen Begum passed away. The palace's joy turned into mourning. Sparkle was completely broken. She became very sad and cried all the time, remembering her mother. One night, Sparkle developed a high fever and fainted. Junina knew that only a magical tear could save her, but the price was that Junina would turn into a lifeless stone statue forever. Junina smiled and said, "Our friendship wasn't only for laughter. I will save Sparkle." She transformed all her magical power into a glowing tear and placed it on Sparkle's forehead. Sparkle recovered, but Junina turned into a white stone statue. When Sparkle saw her friend turned into stone, she burst into tears. Seeing the palace in sorrow, a greedy minister from a neighboring kingdom attacked. When enemy soldiers reached Sparkle's room, she became frightened. Suddenly, a bright light emerged from Junina's stone statue and pushed the soldiers back. Crying, Sparkle hugged the statue and shouted, "Junina, come back, don't leave me alone. I am so lonely." As Sparkle's tears fell on Junina, she returned to life. Sparkle held her hand and said, "My dear, never leave me again." Junina decided to live in the palace forever. One evening, the white dove returned carrying a golden thread, and Queen Begum's voice echoed, "My beloved daughter, I am at peace now because you have a friend like Junina." From then on, Sparkle and Junina went for evening walks in the forest, always accompanied by Barfi. One morning, as Sparkle, Junina, and Barfi were walking in the palace garden, a golden palanquin descended from the sky. A messenger from the fairy kingdom stepped out, bowed, and said, "Fairy Junina, the fairy queen invites you and your friend Sparkle to Star City." Sparkle was thrilled. Junina waved her magical wand and transformed Sparkle's simple clothes into a dress sparkling like stars. They took the dove with them and reached Star City. The fairy queen welcomed them warmly. She explained that a wicked shadow had dried up the fountain of peace. If the fountain did not flow again, the fairy world would be in great danger. To restore it, someone with a pure and kind heart was needed. Junina looked at Sparkle, and they headed toward the fountain. A terrifying dark shadow guarded it. The shadow said, "Stop. Before saving the fountain, you must pass a test." Junina agreed. The shadow said, "In the dense forest, a rabbit is trapped in a net. Free it, because my soul is trapped within it." Junina and Sparkle went into the forest and freed the rabbit. The dark shadow disappeared, and the fountain began to glow and flow again. They returned to Star City. The fairy queen was overjoyed and gifted Sparkle a magical locket. "Whenever you are in trouble, this locket will glow, and you can talk to me from anywhere." The queen also blessed Barfi. Now the dove could speak the human language. When they returned to the palace, Sparkle had become wiser and stronger. She was no longer just a princess. She now had magical wings. Sparkle, Junina, and Barfi together protected the kingdom. They often sat on the palace balcony, drinking tea, while Barfi told jokes and made them laugh. The people of the palace loved watching their friendship. One day, while playing in the garden, Sparkle's magical locket went missing. She became very worried. Junina and Barfi searched everywhere, but it was nowhere to be found. As night fell, they returned to their room and slept. The next morning, they went back to the garden. Suddenly, Barfi spotted the locket lying in a bush of flowers. He quickly picked it up and gave it to Sparkle. Sparkle and Junina were overjoyed. Even today, people give the friendship of Sparkle, Junina, and Barfi as an example. Sparkle had found a family that never made her feel the absence of her mother again.